Hitchcock, the 2012 film directed by Sacha Gervasi, starring Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock, needless to say, is not a direct sequel or spin-off of any of the films in the Psycho series, but it is a perfect companion piece to the original Psycho film. This is not an all-over biography of Hitchcock's career and life. It is very much specifically about the period in his life when he was making Psycho. In fact, I think at one point it was literally titled The Making of Psycho, but I guess they needed the title to be clearer to make audiences know they're not watching a documentary or anything, but a dramatic, fictional, or at least partly fictional, account of the making of the film and all the trials and tribulations it caused in Hitchcock's professional and personal life. It sees Hitch at a crossroads, 60 years old, most critics saying he's over and done with, and that the best is behind him. And it's his mission to prove them all wrong, to recapture the youth and exuberance he felt in his early days, to feel the excitement and joy of filmmaking once more with a fresh, exciting new project, and that project would happen to be Psycho. The film is many things. There's a good deal of insight to be found about the making of Psycho, of course, and the controversy that surrounded it, and the troubles in getting it funded, and dealing with the censorship, and the infamous secrecy that surrounded its production. It's also a great look at behind-the-scenes Hollywood and the politics there, particularly from that era. And it's a love story. Husband and wife, Alfred and Alma, find their relationship challenged, and it's about them overcoming those obstacles and working together, patching their wounds. I thought it was a good aspect to it. You don't see that too much. Maybe it's because we're so jaded as audiences. We either want to see young people fall in love in romantic comedies or middle-aged people break up or die in melodramas. But here's a movie. It's about an old married couple that have problems, they resolve them, and they stay together. It's reaffirming. This is very much a performance-driven film, and there are some top-notch actors in the lead roles here. Anthony Hopkins, terrific as Hitchcock. An ideal and almost perfectly obvious choice to play this legendary figure. He's assisted by some excellent makeup effects as well. Howard Berger, Peter Manchania, Martin Samuel, Oscar-nominated for their work here. They are talented enough to do pretty much anything. I'm sure they could have taken old photos of Hitchcock, scanned them, turned them into 3D models, created an uncanny mold to put on Anthony Hopkins, but that would have been besides the point, you know? So they leave enough recognizable features to allow Hopkins to freely express, and we can see equal parts Hitchcock and Hopkins, and I think that's reflected in the performance here. Much like when he portrayed Richard Nixon in Nixon, this isn't really so much an impersonation as it is an interpretation. And it's on his own terms, with his own way about embodying the character. He was great, and really I do personally feel that Anthony Hopkins is still one of the best actors working today. And as his wife, there's one of the best actresses working today, Helen Mirren, playing Alma. This was a great performance as well, and completely different in approach because she, in real life, Alma, was very much behind the scenes, so she wasn't like this iconic figure or anything that everybody has an idea of or an expectation of when they go into the movie. So she had to create her own character traits and essentially create this character from scratch and from instincts, and pro that she is, of course. Naturally, Helen Mirren rose to that occasion. Also good in a supporting role, Scarlett Johansson, playing a pretty spot-on Vivian Leigh, playing this character as understanding and polite, but cautious as possible, edging close into the drama as she becomes a product of Hitchcock's obsession. And the movie very much is about obsession. Hitch is obsessed with getting the movie made. He's selling his assets, funding it himself. He's obsessed with the material. It's almost taking over him mentally. Ed Gein is a character in the movie, played by the great Michael Wincott, by the way, and he exists in Alfred Hitchcock's mind, kind of egging him on along the way. And there's this great scene where in his mind, Hitch is down in the cellar with Ed Gein, and the cops are raiding the house. He's utterly devastated, sobbing, completely vulnerable, and oddly human. and all Hitchcock can do is look down on him in pity. It's almost like he's sharing this bizarre kindredship with him, like they're both these artists, and their work is being taken away from them. And with his movie under so much fire and his marriage in so much trouble, his very mental well-being is at stake. And if it weren't for Alma, who's kept his tortured soul so grounded all these years, maybe he might have ended up like Ed Gein. Who knows? So if he loses this movie, if he loses his marriage, that's it. He's done for. And there's a lot at stake. It's a surprisingly psychological movie, and it does share a lot of themes with the other Psycho movies, surprisingly enough. But it doesn't go too far. It doesn't get too dark. But it does flirt with some serious darkness. It's very clear Hitchcock is a movie that was made with a lot of love and admiration and respect to the legendary director and to his work Psycho. It always speaks volumes of a movie when it's so good and when the behind-the-scenes stories about it are so interesting that the story about getting it made is interesting enough to make into a movie all on its own. It's a tribute to the well-known master of suspense. And also, it sheds light on Alma, finally paying her due and getting her credit for all her behind-the-scenes involvement with Hitch all these years. It's so satisfying to watch the movie unfold, seeing Hitch and Alma finally set aside their problems, work to resolution, work on the movie, get it together at the 11th hour, working tirelessly, but so passionately, and it really does show them recapturing that excitement that he was seeking out, that pure love for filmmaking, and it's infectious. This movie, of course, is not as good as Psycho. Few movies are, but it is worthy in its companionship to the classic. I rate Hitchcock 3.5 stars out of 4. It's a very entertaining and insightful look into the making of a classic, made all the better by Anthony Hopkins and Helen Mirren giving some career best performances. So Hitchcock, I loved it. A movie that I think it does get better with each viewing. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, it was pretty good, but I've watched it a couple more times and I grow to appreciate it. So it's definitely kind of one of those movies that I think is worth revisiting, rewatching. So definitely something that I feel should be seen by anybody who loves the Psycho movies, anybody who loves Hitchcock. I mean, it's just almost mandatory to do. So let me know what you think of the movie below. I know some people, I've heard from some people, not too crazy about the makeup. Some people have said it's a little too distracting. I didn't think so, but let me know below. As always, comment, rate, subscribe to my channel, all that stuff. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Tumblr, all that good stuff. Keep an eye out for more. One more review coming in this review series of the Psycho movie, so stay tuned for that soon. As always, thank you very much for watching.